Good morning. Today I'm going to paint a face on a rock. Yes. She's a rock star. And if I hide the rock someplace in the community and somebody finds her, my prediction is they will give her a name. I don't have a name for her, but I do have a funny little story to tell you. You know the song Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel? Well, I just woke up, like it's now, what is it, 7:30 almost? So I got up at about 5 and I started painting this. Maybe by 5:15 I started. I haven't listened to any music this morning, but I'm painting this face and the song Cecilia is playing in my head and it didn't even occur to me, it was just there. So maybe this is Cecilia. Maybe I had some kind of a, what do you call it when you are psychic or something? I'm not saying I am. No, I'm just having fun with you. But anyway, so let me show you how I painted this face. Is it focused? This face, not this face, this face, the little face on a rock. I'll show you how I painted that face in the video that you're, if you watch the whole thing. Oh, you don't have to watch the whole thing. I'm not sure what I think of that. It's kind of spooky a little bit. Kind of creepy. I don't know why. But she's a pretty girl. Pretty girl on a rock. Cecilia. I'll call her Cecilia. Somebody else would give her a different name. I am going to hide this in the community. Let somebody find it. All right, let me show you how I did it. Everybody loves the rocks. So let's do another one. I know you already know what it looks like. I'm not sure yet what it looks like because I'm just starting. But I know it's a face, so I want to do some of the rudimentary things about a face. So I'll put the eyes right about there. I just have to put a little hint of where I want those eyes to be. I'll just use some of this burnt sienna and just kind of give myself some idea where the eyes will be. Make sure they're parallel or next to each other. Not parallel, but you know what I mean. And they're big eyes. Big eyes on this lady. Right there. And I can always paint, and this is acrylic paint, so I can always make them wider. And then her nose is about down here. The lower part of her nose is down here. Just get that in there. And I'm going to work it all based on this simple sketch. And her mouth is from middle of her eyes there. Her mouth is there. Goes from there to there. Right about, okay? And I want her to have parted lips, like she's thinking about something or somebody. Just put those lips there. Just sketch it in. Just a very easy sketch. And then the bottom lip. Let's see, this top lip should come down a little bit farther, I think. Just make sure it comes down so that the part in the lips is obvious. I'll have to paint over it because I already think I made a mistake. And here's her lower lip. It's almost a straight line that curves to the bottom. Well, little by little, it's starting to, I already kind of can see it. Now let's make her eyes. Let's see if we can put her eyes in there. And then we'll work from there. Because once I can see the face, then I'll know that I'm in the right direction. Once I can see it. There's her nose goes over here. already made a mistake. Let's do this. Make sure we get that eyelid on there. Don't worry, we'll get it all in place. Everything's over here. Her eye's more over here. We'll get it. Comes down. Corner of her nose is there. Right up here. There we go. We're going to use some of that later on. We're going to use some of that Payne's Gray to create the whites of her eyes. I don't know if you've ever thought of doing that before. Yeah, I know we think of the whites of the eyes as white, but it depends on the lighting. I think in this case, keeping them light blue, very super light blue. That's why I'm using Payne's Gray. I'm going to lighten it, and from there, all right, give her eyebrows. I never knew when I first started doing portraits all those years ago how important eyebrows are to a lady. If you don't get the eyebrows right, oh no, you messed up the whole painting. Trust me, I learned from doing. Alright, now down here, I think I just want this to be an undefined area on her face. I chose this shape rock for this very reason. I wanted that to be her cheek right there. And then over here. And I want her to be lit from the side over here. So, can you see the face already? It's on there. Let's go ahead and work some of the darker areas. So we're going to use raw umber for that. I want to define some things. Let's define, let's see, let's define the eye first. That eye is way too far over there, so that's a mistake. The nose and the mouth look good, but the eye doesn't come that far over. It only comes this far over. So let's fix that. And then later on, we can fix it even better. Actually, let me move my nose a little bit over. Maybe that'll help too. A little bit of a nostril. There we go. Let's get this all in here. And the eyebrows are darker. Just remember, the eyebrows are very important to a lady. Now, this particular painting is not of a particular lady, so I can make mistakes and it won't really matter, because there isn't a person who's going to say, that doesn't look like me, or that doesn't look like my girlfriend or my aunt. There we go. It goes up like that and then down. I like the way that looks. And the bottom of her cheek, her lip. Okay. Let's get those eyes in there. The eyes are everything. Everything is everything. Just want to make sure I get all these little features of the face right, and then I can start adding the lights and the darks in the shadows of her face. Faces on Rocks. I was looking at an article on rock painting in general, and it's a thing. I mean, the whole not just the country, but I think the whole world has some kind of a rock painting and hiding kind of a thing going on. I don't know if they're all the same, or if they're all organized. There was one I was reading about where the rocks are like a continuation of a project. So, for example, let me get some of this burnt sienna and mix it with some of that raw umber, make it a little bit lighter. Oh, still too dark. Probably need to add some white to it. But anyway, so somebody started a snake. They painted a snake head, and then the rest of the community added one rock at a time to make a long body. So the snake body is long. I can't remember what city that was in. Okay, let me take some of this burnt sienna and make it lighter. I think it's okay to start with that now. A little bit darker. A little bit darker. Come on. We're doing the shadows first, and we'll do the lights afterwards. Let me add some red to her lips while I'm here. This is not really red. This is called... Gosh, I can't remember what that's actually called. I think it's called crimson or something. Okay, that's okay. Let's get some more of this. It's okay to keep the red in there. I think that actually is going to work. Keep that red mixed into the brush. Try to get this nose looking right. The bottom of the nose is always a shadow, and the side of the nose is always a shadow. Everything's a shadow. If you think about it, what makes a person look the way they do? It's all the shadows on their face, I guess, from an art point of view anyway. Okay, a little bit of shadow down here. This is kind of the bottom of her chin. Now that takes some of this dark now. Maybe just take this raw sienna and use that as a dark color. Got to be a little bit lighter. Create some more shadows here. I want this light to be cascading across her face. I want there to be light cascading all over the place. ooh, they're gonna make a face. If I hide this rock someplace in the community, somebody's gonna find it and hopefully relate to it some way. You ever wondered about that? Like when you do something anonymously, just without knowing who's gonna have, like when you donate money to a cause, you don't know who's gonna get the money or what they're gonna do with it or how it's gonna benefit them. You know, I always hope when we donate money to a cause that the organization doesn't take a super large portion of it. I know they always do take some of it, but sometimes I feel like you gotta be a good investigator before you donate large amounts of money, just to make sure that it's going to somebody who's going to really help somebody else. Is it just me, or do you do the same thing? I think we all do that, right? That's funny. Robin and I were one time busking. Do you know what busking is? Busking is when you play music on the street to raise money. Normally it's for yourself, but in our case we were raising money for, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Habitat for Humanity or something else, but we were raising money for something. So we had a professionally made sign, and it said something busking for Habitat or something like that on the sign. And I played the accordion and she played the mandolin, and we set ourselves up outside the Habitat for Humanity store where they sell like furniture and stuff that people can buy to help raise money for the same cause, for Habitat for Humanity. And a lady came up to us. She gave us $2, and she said, "Don't spend this on booze or drugs." And I said to her, "Oh my gosh, why would we? Do you see our sign? Our sign is indicating that we're trying to raise money for Habitat." I don't think she believed me. The guy who ran the Habitat store, he knew. It was one of those, stores. He knew us. We knew him well. He has passed since then, but he was a good guy. My gosh, he did so much for the community. All right, now I'm trying to decide where to put the hair here, because I want this to be the side of her face. And I guess there's an ear over here somewhere. Let's see. You know what? I will worry about that when I get there. Right now I just want to get the top of her forehead over here with some hair. Just a few curls that come down into her forehead. Just a few. And then I'll worry about them. Well, that kind of looks cute, doesn't it? Okay, I'll just keep doing that, I guess. Okay. And this is the side of her face, so I want to keep that. So the hair really would go back there. This is the side of her face. All right, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good, kids. I think we got a good layout now for the face. I'm gonna take some of this burnt sienna, lighten it up a little bit, or a lot, maybe a lot. I'll start to paint some of these lighter areas. Where the sunlight's hitting her. Tip of her nose. Let's just be careful with the colors, because they gotta blend correctly, otherwise it won't work. might exaggerate some of the lights a little bit just to make it more lit. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that too. Just a little bit yellow ochre, a little bit yellow. Let's go ahead and add some of those exaggerated colors. There's that. I'll wait on that because I think I need a smaller brush for that area right there. Let's get some of these, the eyelid, a little bit. Okay, it's a little bit too much, but I'll fix it. Alright. Make it very light. And then this side of her eye right here, I want the light there. The lower part of her eye also. I really should use a skinnier brush for this. Okay, now let's take some of these other browns and burnt siennas. Some of these bright spots here. Just keep it wet so that you can move it around. It's almost, you gotta treat it like oil paint now at this point. Let's get some of these darker colors here. Alright, just gonna let some of these more burnt sienna here. We'll work it in there until we have everything we need. And we can always re-sculpt it. Let's re-sculpt that eye a little bit. There we go. Let's get some of these darker tones over here on this side of her cheek. Come up around here. Try to use some of this yellow ochre to give some of these highlights on here, then we can work them in a little bit more. I think that'll work. I'm kind of experimenting a little bit right now because I'm not sure what to do here. On this side of her face, we want a lot of the light that's hitting the side of her face to be glowing her face, making her face glow. And I'm just trying to decide how to do the ear. I'm not sure how to do the ear right now. Get some more of that dark in there. With some of that light coming across her face. And then this other side. Let's get this yellow ochre and lighten it up a lot and make some light over here. Some light coming across her face. Okay, let's try to decide what to do with that ear. So there's the eye. And the ear is over here. It's kind of weird putting the ear on the side like this, but that's where it is because it's a rock. I don't know if you can see it. How to make the ear. Just a little hint of it, really. Doesn't have to be the whole ear, I don't think. Some of this red in there, and some of this raw umber. All right, now let's get back to her face. Whoops, whoops. Oh, that's a mistake. Sorry about that. Make some of these light areas even lighter as I get close to putting the finishing touches on here. But it's a very delicate thing. I hope nobody's spooked by this rock. I hope it doesn't frighten them. Yeah, that's good. All right, now I want to get some of these lighter parts, and then I want to start using the finer brush. Get the light that comes across her forehead and down her cheek. And even And the side of her face should be lit over here. Go ahead and kind of make it almost pink. Right over here. Here we go, a little bit of light hitting that side of her face. And then this side of her face also. Some of those light tones in here. Now it's starting to get that painterly look, which I like. I like when a painting has a painterly look. It's a term that I use a lot when I'm talking about digital art, because digital art can definitely not look painterly. But if you can make digital art to look painterly, I don't know, I like it that way. I think a lot of the young artists don't. They want it to look very, very, I don't know, like perfect or something. But there's something about an imperfect painting that makes it look painterly. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to anybody? I'm just old, maybe. It's an old person's way of thinking. It's okay. Everything changes. Different sensibilities change. A little bit more light over here. A little bit under her nose right here. Okay, now let's use the very fine brush. I know I have one in here somewhere. I was using it yesterday. There it is. Now the fine brush. Alright, let's get some of these fine lines in there. Let's start with the mouth. The mouth has a little part between the teeth and the lip. It has a very cute mouth. There we go. Sort of. There we go. And then around her eyes, I think I gave too much light right there. I'll make her eyes a little bit wider. I think holding the rock up helps too. I can see it better. Hopefully it's focused. That little line right there has to be shorter. Just a little bit of a line. Do you see that? Very little. Let's get her eyebrows back to where they should be. And a little bit of darkness under her eye right there. And over this eye over here. Let's put a little bit of a more definition around this lip. And on the bottom of the lip. Let's take some of this raw sienna, burnt sienna, sorry. Give some color to her eyes. A little bit of color. There we go. Now let's go ahead and put some of those reflections in her eyes. Make them come alive. It's a little too much. I can fix that, don't worry. I can fix that, I hope. Come on. Come on, brush. Don't fail me now. A little bit more now. Now I'm a little bit. I have to have a happy amount of light in the eye, right there. And then I think also, if I could maybe a little more brightness in her eyes. And then over here a little bit. Over here a little bit. There we go. Now the top part of her lip. It's a little too much. A little too much. Okay, gotta be careful here. Very delicate area here. Okay, let's try and put a little bit of pink on the top of that lip there. Come on. Come on, brush. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. We want this dark, not light. And then on the lip itself, some nice reflective light. Maybe a little bit brighter teeth too. Slightly brighter. I'll get a nice bright reflection on her nose. Right about here. Let me see if I can tone down this yellow with a white yellow ochre. Very light. I know it's a small brush, but I'm going to try to use it for a big area. A little bit of light hitting her from the sun. I feel like I didn't accomplish that. So I want to make it seem like the sunlight hitting her face. And almost like a dappling effect. Coming across her cheek. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it like that. That might be too hard to really see as a rock. It might, you know what I mean? It might be good as a canvas, but it might not be working on this rock here. So I might tone down all those, because the idea was to have this sunlight that's cascading across her face, but as I look at it now, I don't know that I see that. I feel like I see just crazy blobs of white. Crazy blobs. Let me not give up yet, but I feel like I'm gonna go in that direction of toning it down a lot. So what I'll do is I'll take this burnt sienna and I'll lighten it up a lot, and then I'll use that as the color. Go ahead and, oh come on, now my brush is a mess. I'm messing up the painting. Some of this light. Yeah, this lighter burnt sienna I think is going to help define this side of her face better. Better than what I had in mind earlier. Alright, let me use a small brush, but not a tiny brush. See if I can fix the face. I feel like the light that I wanted to do is it's just not working. So what I'll do is I'll lighten this whole side of her face. There we go. So it's a little bit darker than the white I was using. I still like it up here. That looks alright. So maybe I partially got it right. think a mixture of the burnt sienna and the white help with what I'm trying to accomplish here. I think my attempt to be artsy may have hurt me, so it's better to just paint. You know, I always say paint what you see, not what you know. So that's the perfect example of how that's working now. I think it's starting to work. Now if this was oil, I think it would be a little bit easier because it wouldn't be drying so quickly. This, of course, on a rock, you kind of want it to dry quickly. So I just want it to look like a real face, you know, something that'll be kind of cool for somebody to find. A face on the rock. Just kind of spread it around a little bit more. You know what I didn't do yet? I didn't give her eyelashes. How can I forget eyelashes on the lady? Oh my gosh. Eyelashes are very important to a lady. Well, I'll have to do that now. You see, I say that, and I'm not. Now I'm working on her lip. So you are trying to figure out how I think, right? Well, that's just the way I think. That's crazy, I know. Trying to create this brushed look here under her lip. Alright, let me do the eyelashes. I have a very super tiny brush over here. And the eyelashes are should be easy. Should just be a matter of using the small brush. I'm going to do them upside down so I get the right direction here. Yeah. Does that look a little bit exaggerated, maybe? Maybe a little bit. See, the eyelashes are important to do last. I mean, I actually forgot to do them, but it was one of those accidents that works out. All right, now I don't feel like I'm done yet. I feel like I still want to add a little bit of light to her face. Let me add a little bit of light to this part of her nose. Just keep this little brush here. And down here on the tip of her nose. Maybe a little bit more under her eye. A little bit right there. Dark area again. All right, now I'm going to try, I'm still stuck on wanting to put, I guess it looks all right. I'm still stuck on wanting to put a little bit of light down here on her face. Let's just see if I can do that. I feel like the light's coming across. Hitting the side of her nose too. The side of her forehead. I think the key is to just not overdo it with the white. Keep it looking like sunlight cascading across her face. And then the side of her face also will be lit like that. I don't know. What do you think? There's a bit of a reflection on her forehead, a little bit of a reflection on her cheek. Maybe a little bit of this red in her cheek too. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Oh, that worked nice. Well, that's a happy accident. I didn't expect it to look like that. That looks good. Yeah, it's a little too much, I know, but now I ruined it, I think. Oh no. Boy, that magenta, whatever it's called, is gonna need to let that dry and paint over it. Oh yeah, yeah. You ever do that? You ever make that kind of mistake? You gotta paint over it. Just let it dry, paint over it. Now I'm glad I'm using acrylic. Oh gosh. No undo button on this. The only undo button is to paint over it. The paint is starting to dry on the palette too. Alright, I'm going to dab it in there. Dab in some of those lighter colors. It's coming back now. Yeah, that magenta was just a little too strong, a little too powerful. Sometimes the reds can do that too. All the reds. Sometimes you have to be careful with reds. Sometimes they have too much. They just are such a strong pigment. Okay, the only thing I think I want to fix now is that area around her eye. Looks like it needs a little bit of tweaking. I'll use that very skinny brush. Let's see, this one. Which is the very skinny one? This is this very skinny one. Alright, I think around her eye it's a little bit too bright. Right around the bottom of her eye. Just make that area a little bit less. Make it look more like eyeliner. Same over here. A little bit of a highlight into her hair where the sun is hitting it. Alright. A little over an hour and I think I'm done. Now I will put some varnish over it. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Alright, it's dry. I'm going to put some varnish over it. And hopefully it won't ruin it. Make it shiny. Seems to look really good on the other rocks I've done. I think this is the first human face I've done on a rock. 'Cause the challenge, you know, it's probably easier just to do a face than to try to do a face that's got sunlight cascading across it. I think that was my big challenge on this one. So if I tried to do a face like that was simply a photograph and had you know, the front light like from a flash from a camera, that might have been maybe the better approach, or maybe not, maybe the easier approach. But then who said easier is better? Nah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. I promise you, in the years gone by when I was doing sketching, easier is always the way to go because of timing. But you know, painting a rock, you got as much time as you want. You know? So, alright, well, there we go. Okay. Let that dry, and then we're done with the rock. The girl on the rock. She even has an ear. I know it took a long time for this one, but alright, let her dry. I'll pick her up and show you closer to the camera. What do you think? She's spooky? Oh, I hope not. I hope not spooky. Alright, thank you for watching. Sorry it took so long. Alright, bye.